Welcome to InStory Live. It's Devorah. It's the 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, everybody. And I love to demonstrate, like, how do you try new things, be a little spontaneous. And so today I am going to endeavor to invite a wonderful, wonderful friend and client and colleague, Susan Matyas, on to live with me. And so and we'll talk about we'll talk a little bit about what that means and how to do that, and we'll see if it works, because here's the thing. I want you to trust this sense that you can try something new. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can bring Susan on to camera. and we'll see how it works. So it says it's adding her, it's connecting, and this is a wonderful tool to know about. Hooray! See? Now you're here. Can you hear me, Susan?
Connected.
You're good. You're on. Yes, we're in.
Can you hear me?
We're in with Susan Matyas. And did I say, I think I'm always pronouncing your last name wrong.
Matyas.
Okay, good. I did it right.
You did it right.
So, okay, good.
We're here.
So, yay! So it looks like there's like a little teeny bit of a delay in the video. In fact, I'm going to leave the comments here because Aline is here, so Aline can give us tech feedback. All right, Aline, in the comments. And so, okay, so I want to introduce you to Susan, and I want to tell you a little bit about the story of this moment, because I'm always reminding people that you get to start things a little before you feel ready. You don't have to have it perfect. So this morning I discovered Susan doing a Facebook Live in her group, Ageless Women. Is that what the Facebook group is called?
Yeah, the Ageless Women. The Ageless Woman. WOMAN.
Right.
Yeah.
So, right. And so we started chatting, and so Susan is a friend, a client, a colleague, and she's come up through the ranks of my InStory Year program. It hosted an unbelievable international online series called The Ageless Woman, and then is still running a free Facebook group by that name, The Ageless Woman. And so she was in the process of interviewing somebody in her world on who are you? Like, are we able to talk about who we are and our visions, our strengths, like the positive things about ourselves? Because how many of us spend most of our time in the negative, honestly? And so I watched her video, we chatted, I said, do you want to come on live on mine? And she had hers was going sideways, and so so Susan, now that we managed to get like this and do this, say a little bit about who you are, right? And hi, Bridget. And sort of your vision, like, why did you host this Ageless Woman Summit? Like, tell us a little bit about what you do in the world and why you hosted this. And then people can post questions in the comments if they want, and we can kind of take them and we'll play around with this. And you've inspired me to do the interview Facebook Live thing, which I haven't been doing.
I was still trying to figure out how you got it to work, because mine looked like this when I was recording it, but on Facebook it's sideways, so you can't see. So anyway, that's a question for another day, but I'm so happy to be here this morning. This is so fun, and it looks gorgeous where you are today in Oregon.
It's a beautiful spring morning in Portland, Oregon.
What a wonderful day. So anyway, I joined InStory last year after watching you on Elizabeth Foley's series, and I remember very well the moment when I decided I was home. I think I was homesick. Actually, I don't get sick very often, But I was actually homesick, and because otherwise I had no time. I didn't even know what these summits were, but I had no time. And a friend of mine who's an herbalist was actually on it, which is how I found out about it. But I watched it, and I'm like, I'm in my mid 60s. I know I want to do more with my life. I know I want to do something more authentic, and I can't wait any longer. I can't keep saying I wish, I wish, and I just, I just felt like this is it. I'm going to do it, and signed up to work with you in InStory, and it didn't take long before I just knew that I had to move quickly and start to really bring up a platform out. So my 65th birthday was last March, and that was really propelling me on to, I know that I'm not the only one that has this yearning and this longing to do something more and to be more and to really feel like what I'm doing is authentic to who I am. So I started kind of the Ageless Woman platform, and really got clear that what I want to do with my gifts is support other women in the third act of life who are looking to bring something else out in the world. That maybe they're done with their careers, they're not ready to retire, they want to bring all of themselves into starting something or launching something new. And the series was just tremendously exciting, and had some amazing people on there, including you, Devorah. So it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I've done coaching before, and I've done consulting before, and I've got a coaching practice now. But I'm still really exploring where this platform is going to go and what it's going to look like.
Well, Susan, talk a little bit more about some of the other big work you've done in your life leading up to now. And the reason I'm asking you is because our generation of women over 50 and over 60, it's like we've already lived kind of amazing, rich lives. And I'm always telling people that everything counts. Like that what we did before gets to be reshaped and integrated. I'm all about integration and integrated into something new. So share a little bit of some of the other amazing things you've done in your life before you're doing this. Like we didn't get to be in our 60s
Right.
and have done nothing.
Right. So Devorah knows part of it. She's heard this story before, but I'll just share a little bit. So I started out, way back. This is back in the early 70s, doing as a street artist, and had a hat business in Beverly Hills. So that was my first entrepreneur launch.
A
And
hat
then
business. Wait.
I
Hold
didn't tell
on.
you that.
Yes, you did, but I just want you to say it a little more distinctly. A hat business, what does that mean?
I was designing and selling hats and hair decorations and things like that to people like Vidal Sassoon had some of my hats in his shop. They were these big, fancy, beautiful, straw hats and decorated with all kinds of stuff. It was. Someday I'll tell you more of the details. It was
I
so
want to
much
see
fun.
pictures in the thread from this video. I want to see a picture of one of your hats. I've never seen a picture of one of your hats, and I
I
want
don't
to see.
think you will. I don't know if I
Oh,
have one. I'll have to see.
oh really?
Yeah, I don't think I
See?
do. But
Oh,
anyway, so that was just a little blip. But I decided it was time to get more serious, so I went back and got an engineering degree and computer science and engineering, and got a job with Hewlett Packard. So I worked with them for many years in their consulting arm, and from there I went into working in consulting firms and did that for a long time. Um, and then I decided I was tired of, I'd also been in college, I had been a music major years ago, so I decided I wanted to get back into the arts. So I founded a performing arts school. I ran that for about 10 years.
that's why
And
I asked you to tell this. She's like, oh yeah, I just founded a performing arts school and ran it for 10 years, and I worked at Hewlett Packard and sold hats to Vidal Sassoon. Oh, but that was nothing. I'm just saying this because it's an example of what we do to ourselves about somehow discounting our extraordinary lives. So
yeah.
I'm just putting you on the hot spot because I know you've been talking about this subject also.
So after the school, I actually went back and got my master's, and Yeah, I know. I did everything a little backwards. So I've always encouraged my children, don't follow in my footsteps, you know. Take what I've learned and do something better. Um, but I worked, so then I started working in nonprofit leadership. And I started teaching at the same time in a graduate program in arts administration and museum leadership. So I did that for many years. I just resigned from the university a couple months ago. This was a big step for me because I just felt like I didn't have room for starting something new if I was still so busy.
So the reason I asked you to share all this is because I have this belief that everything counts, and that as we shape something new, it's so powerful to bring those threads of your art ability, your engineering ability, your administrative ability, your visionary qualities, your artistic, that you bring all of that. So when someone comes to work with you who's over 50, has a new view, they're going to get all of that. If someone comes to work with me, that's not what they're going to get. They're going to get a
Right.
whole different set of background and story and experience. Even if we could say we are both working with women in that midlife or over 50 who know they have a new vision, want to do something new, but not the same. If you tell your story, that different people will be attracted to you than are to me. And that's what I'm always saying, people, your story is what makes you unique and makes you stand out, right? So my story, right, I've been a storyteller my whole life. So, but that's different. I didn't ever start some company or except this one, right? And even that, I'm like, So so somebody who feels like they have like this business side of them that's like really the front of who they are, but they don't know what to turn it into. So they're going to resonate with you, Susan, because
Right.
they've been through many high level business experiences, but now their soul is calling them to something deeper. And so I'm always telling people, tell your stories. Like, I think it makes you a ton more interesting to know that you made hats. I just love that. I want you to make another hat, right?
Zsa Zsa Gabor bought one of my hats, I'll tell you.
See, you have to tell that we love
That's
these
quite
things.
crazy.
Like, I want you to tell I would love to hear the more at some point, like the story of your hats, because it makes you much more unique. Because what happens is otherwise we're like whitewashed, kind of. It's almost like we whitewash ourselves. Like and then in a little, because you've gone through corporate world also, the corporate world kind of, it used to say, and probably still does say, can you please hang your story at the door
Yes.
and come in without your story and be a neutral cog in the wheel, a neutral clone. That doesn't work. And that we're sort of seeing now the cost of that, honestly.
Well, I
Um,
know one of the things that I was talking about this morning on that Facebook Live was, um, and something that I'm trying to do with the Ageless Woman is really help women step into their power as women. You know, the divine feminine, bring out whatever that means to them. And to do that, we have to come in our wholeness. You know, it's a very male-oriented way of living and being, to feel like you have to always be perfect, that you have to always be
right,
your best, that you can't ever show weakness. It's much
right.
more, but for women, coming into our wholeness and sharing that part of ourselves that's open and vulnerable and less than perfect with others gives them the space to do the same. So as we model that behavior, then other people feel safe and accepted to bring their wholeness. And
$100%.
it takes everything that we've learned. I mean, I named some of the jobs I've had, but I've also been through divorce. I've been through bankruptcy. I've had a lot of experiences that were really difficult. And in fact, as you know, on my series, I interviewed Thomas More, his most recent book is called The Ageless Soul. But I had poured over Dark Nights of the Soul that he'd written more than once, and it got me through. That was one of the reasons I had reached out to him, was because his work had been so influential for me, and I wanted to share it. But it's that wholeness and all of those experiences that really come as we get to this point in our age. They just start to coalesce and really,
Right.
you know, it's like this orb, there's something that's happening and shaping that we really feel is special and calling us, and we want to share it.
I think that's so true. But it requires us to walk through a tendency not to do that.
Yes.
Right. And as you begin, and this is part of, and that's why, like I say, our each one of us, our focus, our energy, our style is distinct. So that's a big part of my focus, is helping people find those stories, tap into them, learn how to share them so that they are inspiring and relevant. Because we tend to think that, oh, no one wants to hear my story. Like that's
Right.
often, and I realize part of that is because almost all of us have been prey to some person somewhere who's told you the same story over and over hundreds of times. I think, oh my gosh, my children probably think that about me. But anyway, so that feeling of that annoyingness of someone telling you their story in a way that doesn't work too many times, I think we're afraid of that. And the difference is that you can learn to share the turning point moments, the insights, the what you learned as a part of your story, so that it's more focused on making a difference for the listener. And I just wanted to say one more thing from your interview with Thomas More, which was amazing. And you should it would be really cool for you to repost that somewhere, because it was a beautiful interview. And at the very end, I think you asked him, like, what are his last words of advice or wisdom? And he said his advice to women is to be strong. I don't know if you remember that at the end. But
I know, I've forgotten it actually.
it was something that really stuck with me,
Uh-huh.
this idea about be strong. And I thought that's such an important thing, both all the way from the physical to the energetic, the mental, because it's easy as a woman and as you get older to feel like we're not strong enough, or that we don't have inner strength or physical strength. And that stuck with me. It's reminded me to push myself into all kinds of work, exercise, and
Yeah.
not to quit on things that are a stretch.
Yeah,
I
that's
really
great.
enjoyed that. Um,
Well, I'll post it. I'll post it today. I can put it up on the
yeah, put it up
so
again. Put an Ageless Woman, and you could
yeah,
also just share it on your own
right.
personal page.
Yeah.
Just to highlight him. So this is such a great example of what you can do if you just catch the moment. We didn't plan this ahead of
Right.
time. I saw Susan, we talked to each other, we practiced in my InStory group to get the tech right, and then we jumped on live here. So what we're going to do is we're going to share this video in different places, encourage you guys who are watching to post a comment, to be encouraged, to share live. If you would like either of us to bring you on, then let us know. Like, if you'd like to speak with Susan about in the Ageless Woman group, or on anything to do with her, if you'd like me to speak with you live, let us know, because this is such a fun way of kind of being brave
It
and
is fun.
sharing moments.
It's spontaneous. Yeah, you don't have to think about it. You just do it. So I will. If you go into the Aegis Woman group is a closed group, but anybody's welcome to join. Um, and you'll see my first Facebook Live was posted earlier this morning, but it's sideways, so you get a stiff neck. But you can do it on your phone. I figured out you can watch it on your phone and turn your phone so you don't have to work.
Yeah.
I still haven't figured this out, so I want to know how you got yours to work so well, because this is exactly
All right.
what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
But this is so fun. Thanks for inviting me this morning.
You're welcome, and thank you
It's
everybody
always
for
such a
watching.
joy to talk to you.
And thanks everybody who is watching. Thank you, Susan. Post your comments and your thoughts. And as I always say, to wrap things up, remember to go out in the world, share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Thanks, Devorah.
Bye.